right? Playstyle-wise, there's lots of possibilities for, individuals popping off on this Team Liquid roster, but coming into here on Ascent, actually, and even just mentioning compositions, just on the desk there, it's actually one of their slower maps. So, yes, we could talk about the veto maybe being favored, but that's purely data-driven, right?
Yeah.
If we had more reps for Fennel, we might have a different discussion here. This being one of the slower maps from their pool for Liquid, Fennel have got a chance.
Yeah, Fennel does have a chance, and as Myrna mentioned on the desk too, like to work together. So how can Team Liquid stop that type of teamwork? We'll find out right now as the pistol round is underway. With Fennel actually going a little bit fast at the beginning of this round. Information towards market, spotted by the turret, and looks like Fennel's ready for this.
Actually, both members backing off towards the boathouse here is actually the attacker swarming in here, and actually the one to open the round up here with a headshot.
Nicely with the first blood, but that site slowly opening up. Daiki just running that clock down, staying silent, going for the surprise kill. First one works, and the second. Going for that 1 versus 1. Can she get the third, but finally gets stopped. Already TL's on the rotation for support, and they also get the round.
Beautiful cleanup there. Actually, Daiki tucked all the way back in. Actually avoids line of sight there. I think it's actually Festival that finally pushes into Boathouse. Paranoia slightly off, not putting Daiki in a position to find that third kill, but brilliant recovery there.
Yeah, and one of those moments where unfortunately Fennel couldn't get a spike plant. No kills coming in. I thought too many kills. So we're going to opt for a full eco. We'll be leaning a little bit towards this A site, but this is a standard, right? Playing this KO towards beginning to find the information.
Actually, whether or not any commitment here for Fennel on this initial swing. The one-way goes up. A couple of players ahead of it. Actually, though, to find the first with Spectre, and the second Festival will fall.
Just solo work. She doesn't need any help for now. Yes, there was a one-way smoke, but everything else was all with her Spectre. As Bastarda is now moving out, getting a lot of control towards mid. Big flash to come out. Nachi continuing to go to work. That spike down, and that's a clean Prime giving flawless.
No nonsense really on round 2. Actually, one away from getting the null command online here. Would have been huge to have it available here for Fennel's first buy round here. Again, happy to stand their ground. Actually coming out finding the first 2 relatively unopposed.
And that's it. That's that confidence we were talking about too.
Yeah.
Coming onto the stage, even in the hype videos, Team Liquid were saying, my teammates, they're just much better aimers than you. So they're coming in with a lot of confidence, really want to shut this down early against Fennel.
Even just coming back to the map veto as well, this is one that there's so many reps for Liquid, and really got the macro nailed down here. Well drilled here on Ascent. Fennel initially no real probe towards mid, but fast rotation, I guess, on the back of a little bit of utility from Liquid. Do you have the Killjoy set up here, though?
Exactly. A lot from Naxi, but just from one haunt, that's already one. Nanostorm already popped off. The dash coming in, but it's still Festival that falls first. And just through the smoke is going to get the headshot onto Len as well. Well done by Nachi. And that's going to make Funnel just lick their wounds, fall back, and try to recut the noise.
Yeah, no pressure anywhere else on the map, not even short here. So Liquid happy to receive that, especially with the Killjoy rotating across the A site in that setup just outside A main. This was DRN actually curious towards short here. On the Bulldogs, so could take a ranged engagement. Actually does spot the head, but wise to back away. One smoke up, another one back in 4 seconds. But already, Nachi's made the way all the way over to B site here.
Exactly. That information to rotate back. Daiki's even watching it from the back of mid, so Team Liquid have great map control on the defender half. Now, we have Funnel trying to rotate back towards the catwalk. That's going to be a smoke coming out from DRN, but Naxi holding towards the A main, and we just can't cross the line, at least into enemy territory. For Funnel, finally, Koharu's going to be able to do a bit, but that's not going to be enough.
Liquid just shutting it down. So taking no risks whatsoever. It was only really DRN to kind of probe towards short. There's no overextension in mid whatsoever. And like I said, Nachi already making the way all the way back towards spawn side on B site. Liquid taking absolutely no risks.
That is a lot of series play.
Yeah, that is absolutely mad.
But that comes down to what can Funnel do later on. Now that you have so much tape against Team Liquid, when the rounds are going to move further, now you have an idea of how Team Liquid are currently setting up as well at the beginning of these rounds. And they're going to pop things off early. Mid-control, headshot onto Bastarda.
And she's just catching her own flash there. First blood in favor of Fennel. Weapon semi-retrievable. Daiki ready to try and contest it at least, but actually will be rewarded. The paranoia is perfect from DRN.
Now we're just trying to delay, and that's going to keep Fennel unfortunately pinned close. It's time for Team Liquid instead to push forward, and this is again not looking good for Funnel, but again, it's just an eco round that you see coming into this round. Only Len, the last player standing for the team on the Japanese side, against 3 players watching the spike.
Already though, 2 great examples of mid-rounding from Liquid, just how versatile they're willing to be around the map. Len, Sheriff in hand, still got the light shield, but got to isolate one of these kills at least. Spike is retrievable. I think on the back of that smoke might be a bit of spam yet. Now Len's problems are mounting.
Harder.
Yeah.
Easy round there, easy pickup for Daiki, and that's 4 rounds for Team Liquid. And it seems as though as we look at the evolution of these rounds, it's a lot of fast reaction on Team Liquid off that 0 point from Nachi being thrown. And that seems to catch Funnel off guard a lot, and there you go.
What's interesting actually for Fennel to react so quickly to dive onto A, actually in the previous round, like I said, no confirmation of presence outside. Fennel are happy to kind of try and play the same game at least. And I think early on here to at least show presence toward mid, show that Fennel are happy to kind of take these opening engagements, right? That's where really want to see Festival, typically Suzu as well, but probably looking towards Go on Karumi in that regard to try and set that up. And maybe something we're going to see coming out this timeout now. See with the second full purchase. Fennel just about getting close to their first ult cycle here. 1 off the Blade Storm, 1 off the Null Command. On the flip side, actually a little bit closer than Liquid in that regard.
Even with these rounds coming down, all of them are getting pretty close to these ultimates, right? So another aggressive round could actually turn it over for either of these teams, but Nachi, you mentioned a few rounds before with that Null Command, she has it present now.
Pace change potentially on the side of Liquid as well, with that Operator being purchased.
That's correct.
I know they're going to post up, try and actually anchor a little heavier towards one side. But whether or not actually that Operator is just going to look to dominate mid.
And sorry, GB, we couldn't keep the Fedora out there for Euler.
Remember, that's the map 2. They drop map 1, map 2, the Fedora comes out. Surely it goes over that headset.
It should fit. It should fit. That's a lot of style in that hat. But timeout soon to conclude. This was being called out by Fennel. As that operator you mentioned here, Bastana, is setting this up.
Over towards short, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's just lots of people here on tiles to greet the other end of it. Nano Swarm potential to force off that early angle.
Right on the top of Catwalk. And that's because the knife came out and we couldn't actually pop out the Nano Swarm, so a nice attempt for Team Liquid. But the battle ensues towards mid. Trying to take this control. Daiki so pushed up, just on the right side of the arches.
Not noted though, the Prowler misses.
What trigger discipline? There's 1 and 2, and the crossfire is perfect for Team Liquid. A slight mistake, a slight mishap for Funnel, but they pay a heavy price.
What a setup, and I think it's actually on the back of actually the Operator being noted on shore, as well the second layer to that being Nachi, that maybe there's just a little complacency here shown towards that mid-utility. Len now, you can see Liquid. No nonsense once again, they're tucking up, they're ready to take this engagement. Don't want to give any space for Len to work with. That's another Prime Gaming flawless, Vance. 5 on the board for Liquid.
What do you do at this point? You just got a timeout for Fennel. You're talking things through. And you're like,
brutal. Yeah, it's brutal. If that was the round that they're going to bring something different, try and really disrupt this setup from Liquid. I mean, Operator not rewarded initially, but this play from Daiki, beautifully done. And actually the counter peak to come on the back of it.
And for an age, Daiki, we mentioned on the desk, 18 years old, but still has that trigger discipline on that mid, waiting for the players to get through, and then to go for the double swing with Naxi to be able to get that round for Team Liquid. Very, very well done. Shows like almost has been playing this for 10 years pretty much. But silver lining, at least we have a Blade Storm for a festival. Being popped out, we heard it coming through. Orb also being picked up to allow Kurumi to at least get the Nightfall into the next round, and a Stinger that we currently have too.
Potential here for a festival to get something done. Liquid actually tempering ever so slightly. A deeper hold this time around. Killjoy set up towards shore. Actually, yeah, just trying to avoid any possibility of getting suppressed on the way through here. No progress anyway. Actually, Spike creeping back towards this Operator. Just unscoping at the wrong moment there, but gonna take a second dip at it and gets rid of the Blade Storm.
Had the Blade Storm to work with, dashes away, gets the headshot on to her opponent, sorry. As Nachi, meanwhile, fights towards Wine. So that null command was actually pretty good being done by Nachi to funnel everybody else towards that B site. Unfortunately, Nachi, a fragment that doesn't connect. We're still trying to cut her down as Funnel's trying to go for a split. Too much going on right now for Funnel. They can't take control of anything. I don't even know if he really walked into the site, either of these sites, since pistol round for Funnel.
No, the near side coming perfectly for that blender setup on Tree. Nothing else to do. The headshot will land 6 on the board now for Liquid. And building up momentum. Got to see something early from Fennel here.
Yeah.
Already coming into round 7 and very few positives. Not through their own wrongdoing. Liquid are playing a flawless game so far.
Yeah. And at this rate, going really quick every single one of these rounds. We're just, unfortunately, not getting enough utility to push these aggressive angles back for Team Liquid, but thankfully, we just saw it before those replays. We got those ultimates ready.
Yeah, the problem being, I mean, a couple of rounds ago, we were talking about Fennel having the advantage in terms of that first ult cycle, but it just comes off kilter. And nothing really other than the Blade Storm to invest. And the way this has gone, it's just so lopsided. Actually, the dash ahead here. Festival looking to find the opener.
One stuck in logs, but somehow still manages to get the shot, forces out the Hunter's Fury from the opponents, and finally we open up the site for Fennel. A 3 versus 2, 1 player advantage for the attackers as we finally make it into the site.
Big tag onto Suzu though. That Hunter's Fury. TP actually all the way into main. Not contested here, so DRN's got a little bit of space to work with. And actually now, that position on the other side, but Suzu gonna find it.
Unfortunately, looking to clear the corner of the right side of Garage, gets picked out there by Suzu on top of Market.
Suzu's down to 2 after that shot dart.
Just so much money to work with. I like the idea to go for it, make it expensive for Funnel, but...
Beautiful pace change, though. Again, Festival throwing her life on the line to find that opener. And even with the return there, which never should have happened from Logs. Never should have happened, but still found it. And actually, minimal investment here. You can see we had 4 ultimates coming into this for Fennel. Didn't use anything. See, Nachi just caught off pace a little bit.
That's a great way to start the round, actually, to get your first round on the board. And that was off the aggressive dash of Festival. And no ultimates, as you've mentioned. This is something that's important that they could cycle through into this round. It's a knife coming out. Counter dart. So we see some aggression coming out from Daiki. And with that, Fennel, sorry, they're looking to work back towards the mid slowly.
Drone actually to clear space here. It's a very, very deep push. Liquid not phased at all by that previous pace change. On the back of that, Fennel looking to find their way through towards Market. Lockdown invested actually just to clear out kind of close sight. And actually looking for the counter. That's going to prevent any progress unless they rush this.
We're actually running into it. So Fennel definitely looking to try to break it, work towards spawn. Nice double dash to try to get in and get the kill onto Daiki. Can we make it out? With success.
It's just 4 players from Fennel now wrapping through the defender's spawn. Actually, Nachi and Naxi, choice but to let them pass for the time being.
Still got 2 players, though, from Team Liquid on the A site. At the tree, at the A main. And this is all individual fights that are about to happen. Len gets that victory against Nachi. Paranoia comes out.
Festival? What?
Nice kill. Fully blind.
Actually caught that Paranoia.
And that is continuing to be clean for Fennel, as there's only 1 player left, and Naxi still has enough money to buy into the next round. Still an opportunity to make things very expensive for the attackers on this pulse plan as Festival goes for the jump peak and spots the defender, the remaining defender for Team Liquid. She's looking for the opportunity to look for those exits.
Kurumi tucked in, low HP, down to 20. Festival, no nonsense. What a round again from Festival. Really the tip of the spear for this Fennel roster, and proving that already now. Back-to-back rounds. It didn't see anything coming out of the timeout, but that doesn't seem to have phased them whatsoever. Great audible call here as well, in the chaos of both lockdowns. I mean, what is that?
Also just insane that through the chaos, did it just decide to push through the lockdown
there's
and go
4
for
of them
spawn.
in defender's spawn. Like I said, the audible's fantastic, and Liquid maybe actually not considering the possibility with that counter lockdown that that's going to be the decision made.
Sticking together is the name of the game for Fennel. As for this round, we're picking up the pace towards B main with the Prouder to clear things out. Festival, as you mentioned before, the one that's going to get, or try to get first contact this time towards this B site.
I've always seen Naxi as well. You see Naxi's set up to try and slow down Festival, prevent that dash onto switch, and kind of isolate, split up Fennel on some of these heavy site hits.
A lot of numbers there for sure. And there's that contact, and unfortunately, it's going to be Festival that picks up the head of Bastarda. Nano Swarm on the top of Catwalk to try to push the defenders away. And finally, there's some good mid control coming out from the attackers. Festival looking to smoke up towards his Catwalk to allow the rest of Fennel. 3 players moving up towards Pizza. It's a 3 versus 1 in this section. But Daiki still does her job before she gets picked off by Kohalu.
Let's see, Len with the TP to backside. This B side is wide open right now. Naxi, though, will catch one on the retreat, and that's the spike noted. Precarious position, but it will be recovered. The numbers advantage here for Liquid on the way back through. Actually, Fennel trying to bait out with that tap of the spike to try and get another kill to make this a little more comfortable.
What's really important here are the paranoias from both of these Omens. And that comes out, both hiding inside the smoke. Len still manages to get the headshot onto DRN. A 2 versus 2 and 15 seconds left. We have to commit into this site. But now as it gets spotted on towards the sidewalk, a 1v1 as Suzu's moving down, looking for the plant. It's gonna be a fake tap. Here's the spray. Knows where it's coming from now. 4 seconds left. Gets the headshot.
My God.
Wow.
Suzu ice cold, not even going for the plant with 4 seconds left on the clock, and played to perfection by Fennel. Like I said, trying to bait out an extra kill to make that a little more feasible. So well played, baited Liquid in. I think actually DRN's the first to fall inside that smoke.
Yeah.
Trying to spam in once again with that Vandal, but the Tracer's noted perfectly. What a round.
It looks like we just needed to shake a little bit of those nerves.
I mean, GB mentioned them being kind of an unknown entity, but they're so unpredictable right now. They're playing really, really slippery. It's as if Liquid can't really get a grasp on what they're going to do.
And that's a switch to be closed by Festival. Nice little haunt coming out as Festival was trying to get the spray, but no kill. Still decides to push through the Nano Swarm, but we have bloody kills going in towards this B side, but the advantage still comes out for Fennel. 2 versus 1 Bastarda. It's going to have to try to clutch it. Activates now to Dash. Dashes away. She misses the spray onto the sidewalk. As that allows the last 2 players to try to set up, but no time. Nice shot coming in from Bastarda. 2v1 for the Red Bull clutch.
I mean, this started off 6-0, but it's heating up now, coming into round 10. What a crazy exchange the last few rounds have been. I mean, even here, look, yes, the Red Bull clutch, but it cost them a lot.
Definitely.
Let's actually see where the ultimates lie now, because it hasn't really felt as if either team's had to rely on too much in terms of these set executes. The Bladestorm online for Fennel here. Beautiful cleanup though from Bastarda.
And for her to be aggressive too, to not allow Fennel to actually position themselves on that pulse plan was actually huge.
Yeah.
And a lot of these shots, unfortunately, with that operator, missed a couple of times for Bastarda, but in the end still manages to come back and shake off the rust from the beginning of the rounds. And allowing Team Liquid to take the lead now by 4. Fennel once again looking for the control towards the B main.
And no command popped. Way ahead of the curve, honestly, just to slow things down. I think that's almost kind of hitting the panic button with how the last few rounds have gone, Vans.
Definitely. And with Fennel, they decide to pull back. But just tapping the orb forced out the null command. That was huge here for Fennel to take control of map
and they can
in the mid-round.
They can freeze. The drone's going to note presence outside here, but Liquid setup actually leaning heavier towards mid. You can see DRN and Bastarda set up ready for it. Finally now Nachi going to drift back over towards B site. Then I've got plenty of time to work with though.
Unfortunately, DRN does get the first blood into this round. Still, null command's going to be important as Koharu gets that frag onto Bastarda. And that could be an important null command right into Kench bench, and it will happen. But Nachi gets 2 kills on the back of mid.
Actually, the fragment should deal with it.
Right on it.
And gets the kill as well to Suzu. What are these rounds? It's so back. But the thing is, Fennel was so quick to respond after that first blood from DRN. Again, they don't pause for hesitation whatsoever.
Unfortunately for, I mean, they don't pause, but when it comes down to fight, everybody's coming out to fight. That's just what I'm really liking about these 2 teams so far. It doesn't really look by the scoreboard that it's that close, but these girls are fighting hard here for Team Liquid to get this lead.
Like I said, again, roll your minds back. This started 6-0. Very, very one-sided towards Liquid. And yes, it's 8-3, but some of these rounds, so back and forth.
Oh, okay, a change of pace actually for Team Liquid. Tried to go for a little
All the
shark
way to
attack.
tiles, yeah.
But instead, they couldn't find anybody. Fennel's all the way out towards the A site and getting ready to go for a hit. But they haven't really activated and haven't moved quickly from that. And finally the Nightfall comes out. That's going to spot a few.
A big info here, but Fennel should find themselves a free site. A lockdown available for the retake.
Such a low
Just the
buy.
Blade Storm and the TP for DRN.
Actually, though, on the top of heaven for Haru to answer back towards the doorway. But as we mentioned it before, once the action starts, it's going to be chaotic. Working with the buddy system for Team Liquid to try to go for the retake. It's a 3 versus 3. Decent positioning going out on the pulse plan for the attackers, as it's a 1-for-1 towards the doorway. One hunting towards the dice. It's Len. Head-to-head against Naxi, but Bastara's there to save. A 2 versus 1, Suzu, it's planted for her. First headshot coming in. Now we've gotten halfway.
Oh, the
and
turret!
unfortunate turret gets the kill on the clutch.
No! Naxi can just stick it through. And it'll be 9-3 on the half. Another round, though, where Fennel make something from nothing here. I mean, it's Guardians just swarming onto the site. Liquid do fantastically well, like finding these trades, like you said, that buddy system coming into effect. Even here with the nano swarms, I mean, Len just gets overwhelmed. Like I said, in that position, having a Guardian to work with makes it so difficult.
Well, with that, Fennel has a lot to work with, but let's see at least if the desk could figure out what they could do.
Thank you so much, Vansili and Hypoc, for that one. And yeah, I mean, honestly, like, this started off rough for Fennel. Although they were able to find some rounds, maybe they could lean on the 9-3 curse, Athena.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, TL was doing such a good job. They were actually fighting for one part of the map every single time. Whether that was mid, A main, B main, whatever they did, they fought for it, and they fought for it together. I actually want to look at one of the rounds here. I'm going to look at round 5. And on round 5, what we saw was Fennel actually making a mistake with their Prowler, not clearing the corner, and as such, the discipline on Daiki to just let the entire team run through. You can see her teammates are supporting her from market, baiting for her. The comms are there. Now one coming up from behind with the flash and immediately running up Cat to just come and help her. This team is so good together. They're playing together. They're peaking together. Everything is just going really, really well for them. Obviously, Fennel, they dropped it a little bit just by not clearing their corners, but you know, like at the end of the day, that's what makes a team good, is being able to pick up on the other team's mistakes and adapting to that.
Yeah, they're kind of like a hyperactive team, right? But moving forward into the next half, when you talk about the 9-3 curse, I wanted to take a look at a heat map that is going to show us where Team Liquid has been planting their spike every single time they've been playing here on Ascent during the last series that they played of Game Changers. First of all, they played 71 rounds on the attack, and they planted 55 times. That's a 77%. That is a lot. But as you can see, we have 3 big red dots here on the map. So knowing that you have a KO, knowing that you have a Killjoy, if you're Fennel, if you have studied, you know where you have to place that utility, you know what to save, and you know how to play around it. They really want to plant that much, okay, give them some space, get the spike down, and we know how to counter it.
Yeah, that is a great point that you bring up there, because now this is where perhaps that could play a disadvantage here to Team Liquid, having that much footage versus Fennel.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a disadvantage for sure, but again, with the Killjoy utility, Liquid actually has a Sova to counter it. Make sure you're shocking the bomb before you're planting. Will they expect it? For sure. I mean, that's kind of up to them, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will see. All right, well, let's see if the 9-3 curse is an actual thing, or can Team Liquid just close this one out to send it back to Vansili and Hypoc.
Thank you so much to our friends at the desk, and indeed, we'll see if the 9-3 curse will ensue now for Team Liquid, and we'll see also if the battle between this Killjoy and this Sova, now that we do have Suzu playing this Killjoy on defense, will actually matter for the scoreline.
Yeah, I think a very, very minor kind of difference in composition that might come across. Whether or not actually Fennel are gonna, it'd be very unorthodox for them to sit back and try and play these kind of anti-plant setups here on Ascent.
Yeah.
Particularly as we come through to the bar. Actually, a couple of members of Liquid marked here. I don't see an initial rotation finally. Actually, Kahal going to make her way over towards Tree. Both members, Len and Karumi, actually down on site here, so they could get overwhelmed very quickly, Vance.
In a great spot, though. Len is at hell and does have the paranoid to work with, but not anymore as Nachi gets the opening kill. Now battling inside the smoke. Karumi answers back, but she only only has 10 HP remaining. We're flooding the site at least for Team Liquid, but we're also dropping like flies as the rotation is already coming through for Fennel. Naxi answers back. Daiki continuing to do the same as the numbers are now back in favor of Team Liquid. Spike is yet to be planted. Just trying to make sure that we stand our ground. And here is the attempt on the retake on the last two players. What a read by Naxi for the first kill. Suzu then answers back, but man, that was a great read for the pistol.
Naxi in a great position just to counter that cloudburst dash out from door. Beautiful stuff. And like I said, actually, it took quite a while to find both of those kills on site.
Yeah.
Fennel able to slow things down with how long that takes, but just didn't matter. Liquid able to make their numbers work. Even seeing tendencies like that, yes, the pistol round, but makes me believe maybe they're not going to look towards leaning a little deeper and playing anti-plant and relying on kind of that homework factor. You'd see actually a heavy emphasis towards mid early on. That was pretty much 3 set up towards mid to greet anything from tiles, anything from top mid as well. Whether or not that trend will continue. Heavy stack towards B this time around. No investment though. Classics across the board. Fennel want to pile everything basically into round 15 on that purchase. Liquid's by actually well rounded out with 3 Bulldogs as well, so well equipped actually.
Yeah. And this is going to be a very hard fight to take for Fennel here. Going for the full eco and hoping into the later rounds they could come back on the defender half. But a great execution comes in for Team Liquid, but they'll soon realize the site is up for grabs, that the stack was actually on the other end of the sites.
And going for one of these plants that we did see on Kakuka's heat map here, but actually Fennel trying to get ahead of the curve. Try and prevent that from happening, but Suzu punished for it.
Bastaja, what a beautiful cloudburst to just give a one-way angle, and that was pretty much it. Clean right now for Team Liquid on the pulse plant anti-eco with the Prime getting flawless.
Yeah, struggling to get anything done here with the classics, but this is the round we look towards for Fennel to potentially make a stand here in the second half. Said that previous purchase well rounded out now with 3 Bulldogs. The fact that it was a Prime gaining flawless as well. We'll have an extra rifle in the hands of Daiki. Real old progress to write home about in comparison to the first half, actually.
Yeah. Well, at least with that full eco that he had for Fennel, WL have full utility. And going fast at the beginning of this round.
Another set piece, yeah, to try and take this mid control early. DRN just giving up that angle, allowing a little room for Festival to play with, potentially. Gonna hear this rotation back through spawn, though, so I'm hoping to look at the minimap and see a couple of other Fennel bodies headed that way.
Shadows traveling.
Especially at the turret spawning top mid. We did the utility for that fade on the B main. It's time to rotate, and finally you do see Kurumi rotating over towards this A site. See that execution coming out from Team Liquid as Daiki opens it up. Moving in with the rest of her teammates into A main. Battle on top of mid in favor of Festival, and that will allow this flank to happen. But Daiki, ready, waiting, alert. Spike is going down.
Actually going to find a second as well, so Festival, an opportunity to make some magic happen here in the back lines.
2 players are stuck at the generator on this pulse plan for Team Liquid. DRN, though, is trying to fight it back. Festival getting 3 into the round and doing all the work herself.
18 HP.
Can she save it? A 2 versus 1. Not good enough. A wall bang for Koharu. And a defuse comes in for Fennel to put 4 onto the board.
Beautiful cleanup. Again, that's Festival really making use of that early progress towards mid. And like I said, the rotation didn't come through early enough. I think actually once you note that, I think it must have been, it was KO steps that would have been relayed. After that, utilities invested towards B main. Didn't matter. Able to clean things up with Festival finding 2 on the flank here. Even actually with Daiki finding 1 on the way in. Len falls pretty much immediately here.
One spike planted.
Despite that victory. I mean, Festival did that all by herself, by the way.
Even finds a 3rd on the way back through as well. Like you said, two players stuck behind Gen. Very difficult to get anything done.
Shadows traveling.
I love that we're still having fun.
Shows here, though, in the next purchase. Light Shields, a Guardian.
Exactly.
To round things out. Again, though, Festival happy to swing out. And this time around, DRN had fortuitous timing in the previous round to give up that angle. Immediately, look at Fennel are flooding towards A site right now.
Yeah, Team Liquid wants to react right away. They hear the owl drone from Fennel. At least Fennel hears the owl drone coming out on the attack on the A site. Prowler to counter back to spawn a few. And we're just getting ready to play the pulse play, but Festival's already low on HP.
Bastarda had to give up that angle there. Flash was invested just to set her up for success. And whether or not Naxi has lineups for this position from main. Actually, even just going to throw them through here. No nonsense. Festival going to find another one, though.
That's Nachi fighting back towards A main 2. AD yesing at the front. A 3 versus 2. Kurumi and Suzu trying to come back, but it's all up to Kurumi now. At the dice, it's still going to be Bastardo trying to fight it off, and the double swing and the double peek from A main will put Team Liquid at map point.
Beautiful hold. Actually looking at where the funds are going to lie for Fennel. That previous, like I said, it was only 2 that survived on that successful round. Festival does have the Blade Storm, rewarded for that early couple of rounds. She's been happy to push and find kills. They're just struggling elsewhere, though. And even here, if it all does go awry, lots of time to run down with the Nano Swarms as well being invested so late.
Do you think all hope is up here, Mike?
I mean, this is going to be it's going to rely on Festival to get something done here with the ultimate once again. And actually, Liquid, a little bit of a switch up here, showing presence towards B.
But at least Suzu is all the way out towards spawn. She can pop off the Nano Swarms to try to delay for a bit while they double up towards the back B. So this is a perfect setup by Fennel, reading through the attack. There's that second Nano Swarm coming out, slowing it to delay one more time, and all of Fennel are now towards this B site to converge. Flash does not work, but at least a Paranoia does. And then Nachi gets 2 kills towards the back of that, make that even 3. It's almost over there, and it will be after that kill as Team Liquid takes their first